Episode, I have no clue.
60.
Oh, we did 60 of these?
I think it was 59 before last week, and then
Man, episode
so
60.
61 maybe.
Okay. Episode 61 of the Golf Performance Group podcast. You have your host, LeBron Palmer, and also
Ginormous Johnson.
Ginormous. Guys, it is Ginormous.
You said I had to create a
You have to create a character.
Yeah.
And you went with Ginormous Johnson. Explain.
Well, in college, everyone always asked me what JJ stood for, and it just kind of got annoying. So then I just, at the college bars, I just started saying Ginormous Johnson, and people thought it was kind of funny. I don't know why.
I think you should stick with that. So
I mean, I like the long ball. I
get
like
that. And when we play our two-man, you'll be able to be Ginormous.
Dude,
I am Ginormous.
Yeah, but you're old and you got the bad knee.
Not anymore.
You are Ginormous.
The knees haven't been repaired. You got to remember, like, I am 5 years. That is crazy. This is 5 years out from that surgery. That is 5 years. It is. That is 5 years out from when I had guys y'all.
We could have been millionaires by now.
We really could have. What the hell have we been doing? It has been 5 years since I had 2 knee surgeries in 2 weeks.
That's crazy. I had an idea
for a while.
Yeah, I remember the tennis pro at Northgate. We looked at us, and then after you left, he's like, "Why are you carrying it for him? Shouldn't he be carrying the stuff for you?" And yeah.
But either way, there's a lot going on in the golf world, a lot going on in our personal lives, and we just want to kind of break it down today. So first things first, this is the official start to the PGA Tour season to me. This is like when you really get into it.
What about the waste management?
No, because waste management is silly golf. There's a whole grandstand where people yelling at you throwing beer.
I know, you never get to feel like a football player walking through the tunnel, everyone yelling at you.
Because no one's tackling you in golf.
You feel like they might when you're on the 16.
Fair.
Speaking of which, so Rashad, the defensive end.
Yeah.
So he shot 95 on the sim. He broke 100 for the first time indoor or outdoors. What's he been practicing, like a month?
95.
When did football season end?
In January.
Yeah, and he was with the Rams, so they went pretty deep.
They went pretty deep. Yeah, and had playoffs. Yep.
So he made a 13 on the first hole, and I kept trying to tell him, like, quit thinking about technique and golf swinging, that I was doing stuff. And he makes a 13 on the first hole because he's still thinking about his swing and like toe shanking it. He shoots 55 on the front, a 40 on the back.
That's impressive.
And he was doing putting, and he was putting with a wedge the whole time.
Okay, I can't count.
So I've got a video.
Rashad, I cannot count it. You didn't putt with a real putter.
Well,
that doesn't count.
Imagine what he would have. Yeah, no, but you're allowed to putt with a wedge.
I don't care.
Robert Streb won that one tournament.
Rashad, that does not count. So I need to see this in real life. So
I have this video of the scorecard.
No, set it up in here. I'm challenging him on camera now.
Okay, I'll send him.
Set it up.
You gotta clip it. And then
clip that up. All right. But let's get into it. Real golf season. Most people are just thawing out now from the winter. You get into March. Now the Northeast, they might have one more real cold snap. Here in Texas, we've been good for about 2-3 weeks now. We had that last week.
Last week was bad.
Last week was bad, but other than that, you've had some pockets. So we're at PGA National right now. What do you think in this part of the season? We had someone shoot 59. How is that even possible this early in the golf season?
Well, these guys are playing year round, so I mean, they may grind if he didn't get into he did get in.
He did. Yep, he did.
But they take some time off in the fall if they don't have to keep their card, and he didn't have to. So he probably, worked on his game more. That's what people don't realize. These guys are playing almost every week.
Yeah,
so when and they're trying to get better. And that's, what I tell the average golfer a lot is, like, you got to learn how to play while getting better. You can't just there's a lot of people, I don't want to go out on the course. And it's like, you got to learn how to play. You got to learn how to block out, all that stuff and just focus on the simplest swing thought that gives you the best chance to hit a good shot.
So let's bring this down to like our level then, just going low. I want to have a conversation about Absolutely not.
No, I didn't.
Absolutely not. So, I want to talk about going low. So for me, going low might be breaking 80. Mm-hmm. Okay. For you, going low might be breaking 70.
Breaking. Give me some credit.
You've shot 59 before?
No, but I've shot 63 a dozen times.
But that's
64 in tournaments.
Okay. All right. So what should a golfer think about? Because I've felt the pressure. I've never personally broken 80. So, but I felt the pressure of being on 16, 17, 18 with the opportunity to break it and hitting a 9 on the 17th hole.
Yeah.
Like what do you do to keep that anxiety down?
Well, that's the thing. You got to practice it. Like, you got to practice your mental game like you practice your full swing or your putting. And so like one of the things my performance coach taught me that we had on the podcast, Neil Smith, was self-talk. So like you have stuff come in, everyone has crazy stuff come in when they're playing golf, but you got to learn to like acknowledge it and be like, oh, so if you have water on the right, like you think, oh, what if I shanked in the water over there, and then you got to like, you have to have awareness for that thought, and be like, that was stupid. Like how often does that happen? And let it go. And then, but over time after doing that, it's easy to let it come and go. But obviously I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, I was 7 under at Golf Club of Houston on the tournament course on the first round of the tournament.
Oh, you were hitting it good then.
Yeah. And but I caught myself falling back, and then I made bogey and shoot 66. And I'm like, so everyone still, struggles with it, but that's also was one of the hardest holes on the PGA Tour.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
But I was aware I did that, and I was, mad at myself, but I have to make an effort still to practice it. And the biggest thing is focusing on your breathing. Neil also taught me, like, he was more of a tits guy.
Okay.
Tits or ass, and I was like, I'm more of an ass guy. So he's like, well, I would just try to find the nicest tits in the gallery when he was on tour, and that would distract him from, because you got to take a break between shots. You have 40 seconds where you got to zone in, or maybe a little longer if you're getting yardages, whatever. But after that, you can't focus for 4.5 hours.
That's like a good Ginormous Johnson tip right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was one thing that people should take from this was, that's a good tip.
Yes, that's a great tip. But the problem is, like, we're not playing on tour where there's nice tits and ass.
We're playing with our friends.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was like, so what do I do? Like, he's like, you just got to imagine nice asses. So I was like, all right. So you got to find something.
So, Fee, for me, my problem is I won't breathe. Like
that nobody does.
It's weird. Like I'll feel like I'm losing my breath, and I'll even like kind of hyperventilate some if I'm over a ball that I know I can hit up. Like par fives for me are like my best hole, because you've seen me drive a ball.
Yeah.
People, we've talked about it before. The one thing that I can do decently is hit a golf ball, like driving.
Yeah.
And if I know I'm on a par five where I'm like, I should be able to get there home in 2 regardless. Like this is easy. I'm going to get anxious. I'm going to stop breathing. I'm going to sit over the ball too long. I'm going to start getting tense. And I haven't been able to break it.
Yeah, so that's why on the range, you got to like practice your pre-shot. You got to have a pre-shot routine. People think they do, but they're not. Yeah. They're, just getting loose in their swings, but you got to, so like Neil gave me a 5-step process that everyone has a different routine, but you have to, like, everyone has to evaluate the shot. What's the lie going to do? What's the wind doing? What's the distance? And then you commit to a club. So I'm 190. I'm going to hit a choke up, aggressive 7-iron. Yeah. So then after I do that, it's all got to be, focusing on my breathing. I got to, I visualize the shot. So how I started visualizing, because I would ask, I was like, what's visual? Like, I can't see anything.
But you can mentally see what
so how I started, he said, look that tree right there. So tell yourself, okay, I'm going to start it at that tree and end it at that, that shadow or whatever. And so then you're just describing it. Then you take practice swings, like putting a feel to that shot with one swing thought. But if you watch most tour pros, they look like Gumby. Like they're not like amateurs or rigid. They're sometimes, but they're usually not playing well, and they're working on their swing.
Correct.
And so after you get that feel of the swing, then you just gotta, like for me, I focus on my starting line. I keep my eyes on that. And then I focus on my breathing walking into the shot. And, I set my feet, set the club face, set my feet. And I try to recreate that feel from my practice swing.
Nice.
So there's a mental game scorecard too, which is the bet. And maybe we could link that in the description.
So something.
Yeah. Because I mean, people love it too, but it's a self-evaluation, but you're grading yourself on how well you executed your routine and how well you committed through the shot or through impact. So, and not the result of the shot, because you'll still hit bad shots. Golf's hard, but you're going to hit a lot less bad shots. So you give yourself a score for shot 1, hole 1, out of 10, or you could just say bad, good, great, or something. But you'll start becoming more aware of stuff that goes through your mind, and you'll be able to back off, or you'll be able to let it go,
So let's pivot to the tour players now, because they've got Arnold Palmer coming up, big tournament, big names will be there. And then we're pivoting to the Masters. How are these guys using this event? They're in Palm Beach. kind of more casual environment. It's a big tournament, PGA National. But then you got now Arnold Palmer and going into the Masters. How are they preparing for that first major of the year?
Well, I think most of the guys on tour, they're every event they're treating kind of like the Masters. The high end guys, because Tiger started that, maybe it was Jack before him, but he prepares just for the majors. Everything's a practice for the majors. But most guys are trying to keep their card. They're trying to get their first win, and so I don't know how well Palm Beach or PGA National relates to Augusta.
It can't be much different. I mean, it's similar area, probably Bermuda.
Yeah. Augusta, they're champions Bermuda now, which on their greens. But that's why Golf Club of Houston would always, get their fairways, they're like pristine, and they'd roll out, and the rough would be short. And it wouldn't be bad lies. Their greens would be like glass. So I'm not sure how PGA National set up their course, but I know they've switched out of Bermuda. And maybe that was, a prep for
the Masters. Yeah.
And now is Houston the week before?
No, the week before is, hold on, let me get the schedule. I don't think Houston is the week before.
Valero was that 2023, but I'm not sure.
Valero is the week before. Yeah, Valero in San Antonio is the week before.
So that's not really a similar prep because it's a ball striking. You got to keep it in play. Augusta, you have wide
Valero
fairways.
has nothing to do with what they plan.
So they may, practice somewhere, when they're back home that has, firm, fast greens, undulated stuff.
Gotcha.
Because the biggest thing at Augusta, from what I hear, I've never been there, but is, the slopes hitting like off, side hill lies, and the greens obviously ridiculous. So
no doubt. Okay, so maybe a turn here. Now, amateur golfers are just now getting outside. Some of them are going to hurt their back the first time they swing a golf club right after they've been sitting on the couch watching football all year. What do you recommend for someone to do before they pick up the club for the first time at the range? I see people out here at Timber Creek every day. I just saw a guy out there just now. Love him to death, but he needed some help.
So sometimes when I'm bored, I just look out the window and watch.
He needed some help. So what would you recommend? He was not flexible at all. He couldn't move. And it looked like he probably hadn't picked up a golf club since the fall.
Well, now I'm of that age where I've got to stretch for 30 minutes before a tournament, or I'm not loose till the back nine. Where
of course,
even when I stretch, I mean, I'm a lot better. Like I don't. Like my sister, who's a golf fitness trainer, and she was a corrective exercise therapist, but she say you warm up to hit balls, you don't hit balls to warm up.
Correct.
So, and it's important that people do dynamic stretching before they do, a fast twitch activity. So a lot of people will do like, touch your toes, but that's not great to do. I'm not a fitness trainer and can't explain the science or all that, how to get it. But you could, but and then afterwards, do the static stretching and the ice and all that. But one thing, what's really helped me is that from Theragun, they have a Therabody back strap with it has heat, and it actually doesn't because my hip flexors are so tight now. So they have it heats your hip flexors and your back, and it vibrates. So you feel a lot better.
Nice.
So I'll stretch, do that, and then I feel good warming up, or a lot better than I normally feel.
And my tip I would encourage everybody, and I'll start giving out some more fitness gyms as we go through the spring.
He's level 3 TPI.
Yeah, I'm a TPI guy. So
you're finished level 3.
Now, the tip that I would just give people is I want you to start walking before you do anything. Because most men, I'm about to be 45. We don't do anything active but go play golf. And that's not really.
And now I play simulator golf, so I'm just walking 3 feet.
If you at least go walk, like around your neighborhood, and you know what I would encourage people? Throw that bag on your back.
Dude, someone else was telling me that just get in your 10 to 15,000 steps a day, which is hard for me.
But just walk.
Yeah, so I walk a loop around my neighborhood with my dog.
That's all you have to do. And I encourage people, if you start there, and if you can get in an environment where you break a sweat, you'll be surprised. A lot of grown adult men do not sweat unless they're anxious.
Well,
they're not doing it for exercise.
Yeah, I sweat. I sweat if I get up in the lesson and you try to help them.
So that's our tip. All right, so let's go team sports.
Okay.
The Golf League. We talked about it in our unreleased episode. Some of y'all might get that unreleased, but we'll show you where you can find that here in a little bit. The Golf League has had viewership of 1 million week 1, 1 million week 2, week 3 it dropped to 600,000. Okay.
Wow.
Do we feel like maybe the product isn't as good as it needs to be on TV? I think it looks good.
I got a little bit of it this past week, and I thought it was. I watched the first 2 a while back, and I thought it had gotten a lot better. Like
the lighting definitely got better.
The lighting was a lot. It was more like a nightclub when they had like music going, like. But they had the guys mic'd up so you could hear them talking.
Yeah.
And so I thought that part was cool. But it did feel a little bit more competitive than the first 2 times.
Okay, because the first one was Tiger and just. It was just a show.
Yeah, and everyone was laughing and hitting bad shots and laughing, but I thought it got a lot better, so it was surprising when you told me that.
But the thing that I'm thinking about is, are people considering that real golf? Like, is that, because in order for me to watch something on TV, I have to sacrifice time with something else I might do.
Yeah, in golf, a lot of sports too, I guess. There's so much tradition, history of golf courses and all that. And one thing I wish they would do is play real golf courses rather than the made-up ones, because we're starting our golf league, this Sunday, or this coming week. But it'd be cool to be able to see how, do their format and see how people did in relation to them, but they're playing, made up golf courses.
And speaking of like the format and how it is, it's a little wonky too, because they have teams and these guys are rarely playing in teams. So I want to bring it down to your team experience. How do you handle when your teammate sucks? Hey, Kevin Kisner, you have not been playing good golf on the golf league. I saw it.
Yeah.
All of your shots were in the bunker.
Yeah.
I was watching.
Well,
how do you handle that?
I have played like in Calcutta's where you have to play a shot. But I really like that format, but I've never had to really like in a real tournament, like as a college coach or a college player or playing the Levy Cup, which is North Texas versus South Texas. It never really bothers me when my partners aren't playing well, because I know how hard golf is and I don't want people to be mad at me, because I know you feel worse when you have a partner too. So, but I always like team golf because I think it maybe makes me focus a little bit more because someone's relying on me.
Okay.
And, so I play a little smarter if I have to.
Yeah.
But I like their format because what I think they should really do is draft based on like positions like other sports. So you could have a driver, then you could have an approach player, then you could have a short game guy and a putting guy. Because then I think I could make it in some position outside of. Well, I'm the best putter I've ever seen, but
absolutely, Travis Johnson is clearly the best putter.
In virtual golf, it's not the best. So.
Long stick as well, right? I mean, you're using the long putter, right?
No, I don't have a broomstick, but me and Jonathan have been talking about how we can get one. We're on tight budget of this.
Okay, I just figured that's what the name came from. I mean,
it's just because I just pound it, off the tee.
All right. So last thing before we get out of here. Technology. I say it all the time. If anybody is interested in an expert in golf technology, you got to come see JJ.
Or Jonathan. Yeah.
But right now I'm talking to you. So They got to come to Golf Performance Group.
They've got to come to Golf Performance Group.
And the reason why I would say that.
Technology.
Yes, because since I've been around for 5 years, I have probably seen every piece of technology possible. Most recently, Uneekor. Can you please explain why Uneekor is a part of the facility here, sir?
Well, one, they're camera based, which indoors they say camera based is a little bit better than the Doppler radar. Two, they have some cool features like the AI coach, which is pretty accurate, or I should say really accurate. It has some biases, like I noticed mainly with like the wrist angles, like old school, they tell you to get it toe up. Yeah. So they kind of have that from what I noticed, but it's entertaining too. Like when we have kids camps, you get a score, a swing score. So people will compete, on their swing score. But it shows you like exactly where you hit it on the face, like from the high speed camera. It's accurate, and they integrate with a few different softwares where we can play nearly any course in the world.
Nice.
So, so it's known as being one of the best. There's Full Swing, there's Uneekor. I'd say those are the top two indoor.
Yeah.
And GC Quad is good. They're camera based, but if you're indoor only and you're playing with a lefty, you have it beside the ball. So that's a problem with that. But yeah, Uneekor's it's got to be the best indoor solution, I should say,
and
for game improvement and entertainment.
That's what I was gonna say. So you can do both game improvement and entertainment on one device.
Mhm.
And will this be a part of the golf league also?
Yeah, so we're mainly going to do it on Uneekor,
Okay.
but if we need to use our TrackMan Bay, we pick courses that TrackMan has as well,
Gotcha.
because they have a lot more courses. So we got Tanner Bandini from, he was a live caddy this past season, and he caddies up at Whispering Pines and is just finished his doctorate at Sam Houston University, I think, right?
Double majored in mass communications and caddying. So
Yeah.
that's why I was there for 7 years. You get 2 degrees like
well,
that.
Sam Houston's got to be one of the top universities in the country.
Up there. It's right under Yale, but right above Johns Hopkins.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir.
Yeah, I first heard about it when I got to Oklahoma, and there I saw a bag on a driving range. But
you were like, this guy's going to give me big problems.
the guy just knew it was going to be really intelligent too. Yeah.
They analytically think.
But they do have one of the best golf coaches in the country. I think he might have won National Coach of the Year in 20. Yeah.
Awesome. Dude.
He's not, they're lucky to have him. Yeah. So, do you have any stories from when you're on the road, with Liv that, if not, maybe make something up that sounds good?
I got in a fist fight with Brooks Koepka.
Okay.
I made that one up.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably wouldn't look as pretty as you are.
No, I wouldn't. That one wouldn't have gone well.
He's got nice, in real life, his biceps are pretty nice, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good teeth, too. Really good, white teeth.
Yeah, I'm into teeth as well. Yeah. So,
can't be cheap.
So what's a true story out there on the list?
Along the lines of what?
So what as a caddy, and you're an amateur golfer learning how to teach, and you caddy, you caddy at a high level, so you've learned a lot about the game, like a professional. So what was your biggest thing you learned, versus being an amateur golfer and when you play, then walking with a professional and having to chart the course, or how he preps for an event? What would you say was your biggest takeaway?
Thing that I really learned was how you say things is very important.
Mm-hmm.
There was a hole in El Salvador, the first tournament I caddied him in, and it was hole 17. To this day, the hardest par 4 I've ever seen. You have a 100-yard canyon.
Do we have it on the Uneekor here?
I don't think it's called El Encanto.
Okay.
But I put in my yardage book, whatever you do, don't miss right, with like 9 exclamation points.
You can't say no.
And he was like, hey, man, maybe just a little more positive, like favor the left side.
No one ever told you that whatever it tells you do.
That's just how I talked to myself when I played, was don't throw it into the canyon where you'd have to walk 100 feet down to the right.
Yeah, don't tell your
that's where I would mostly hit it, because that's the only thing I'm thinking of. I would hit it in the canyon.
There's another mental game tip for the audience there.
The way you say things and just being positive and keeping your guy engaged. Obviously, that seems simple, but when it's like in El Salvador, we were in the hunt for it was a 3-day tournament. We were in the hunt all 3 days.
And this was on Live. It was a professional day.
That was a Mexico mini tour event. It was
isn't it a world ranking point?
It is, yeah. You get world rankings for it. So it's
a legitimate professional tour.
Yeah. So you get in the heat of things, you have to think how you say it.
Yeah. So what about when you would get to a new site for Live? Like what would you do as the caddy to make sure your player was ready for that course?
Well, you kind of handle your own business. Obviously, you're with him. You're seeing how he's hitting it. You're making sure the yardages are the same as they were last week. You're seeing if there's the elevation, the altitude, stuff like that.
Would you walk the course?
Every single day, yes, sir.
So you get out there early?
Yes.
Okay.
I like walking the course. We'd get there, say 2 or 3 days before. So you walk the course all those days.
Mm-hmm.
Then at night, they send you an email where all the hole locations are going to be. So
they give them to you the night before?
The night before. So
that's really nice, because they could
get on the bus at 6 a.m. and then you walk. You see what slopes you can use to access that pin. And obviously, like on the yardage book, they'll tell you. But obviously, some slopes won't have one actually rip a ball back, and the last thing you want is to tell your guy use that slope, and next he has a 15-footer straight down the hill with 3 feet of bright.
Yeah. So you knew like his preferences on?
It took some time, obviously, because I'd only caddied from one time, but you really start learning your guy's tendencies and what he's comfortable doing under pressure. And
so what was would he rather have, so say he's laying up, what was his yardage he liked?
100 on the dot's a great number for him.
A lot of people, mine's 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also he's kind of a guy too, and I understand people like this. I don't I kind of like setting up a stock number. He's more of a, I'm going to get it as close as I can. And he has good short game.
Yeah.
So I don't totally understand. Everybody's different
Well,
in that aspect.
that's what the indoor golf's helped me the most with is like those 30, 40, 50 yards because I'm just as good now as I am from, 80 to 100.
Exactly. Because it's almost a stock feel now.
Now it is because you can't use depth perception, so you take away a sense, one of your senses, and you got, your feel enhances your feel, and then you can use your eyes outside.
Exactly.
But that's interesting though, because a lot of pros don't even like to lay up.
No, exactly. But sometimes you got to convince them too, because there's no other way around it.
Yeah. So what you've been here at Golf Performance Group helping us with some group coaching and learning how to teach. What are your plans, going forward?
So I'll go back. I have my lease in Huntsville. Finished my doctorate there. I've been there a while.
Yeah, that doctorate of Bachelor's of Mass Communications.
Yes,
yeah,
with minor in caddying.
Okay.
But my lease there ends in June, so I'm going to finish up caddying at Whispering Pines and on a high note there. And then,
so will you do 2 rounds a day?
When I was young, yeah, but
you're old now.
I'm not going to say I'm old now, but
25.
I'm 25, and you get some
that was a
99-degree day in Trinity with no wind.
Yeah, I would say 25 was my hardest birthday before 40, but 40 wasn't as much mentally tough as it was physically. Yeah, and everything, eyes, I'm squinting. I got it too much. So, all right.
Well, you squint because you can't see the ball going 330 yards.
Well, yeah, that's how I got my nickname. Yeah, but I still can do that, but I can't see things up close. Yeah. And they say right when you turn 40. So next episode I might have some readers, but all right, so thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Today. And
check us out at GPG if you're serious about your golf game.
Yes.